Hello and Merry Christmas from the Console Xplosion. My name is Castek and I'm the CEO and founder of the Console Xplosion. Just wishing you a happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, and every one of the other holiday greetings that come this time of year. Please take the time and listen to some of our fellow Console Xplosion family members as they talk about their memories about video games, geekness, and everything nerdy. So again, happy holidays from the Console Xplosion.
When talking about Christmas memories, probably opening your presents is what's the most exciting for everyone. In my case, the Sega Genesis was that one. Probably up there with the best presents that I ever opened during Christmas. So I figured let's do just a quick unboxing of the thing again. I had the same exact model with Sonic the Hedgehog included into it. We open the box and we see the sexy Sega Genesis. It came included with a 3-button controller and of course the packing game that was Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, and of course this is not for resale. Oh no. No. What happened? What happened to my childhood? Everything's so expensive. Everything's going to the toilet. I hate Christmas. No.
I think they're excited.
Hello, this is Count Zero. I'd like to wish you all at home a very Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and Happy New Year from all of us here at Console Xplosion. For my Christmas gaming memory, I will never forget that my first NES I received as a Christmas gift along with Super Mario Brothers. It was the Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt 2-pack. And at the time that I got the system, we were at the tail end of the SNES and console generation and getting into the N64 era, and this actually kind of is what led to my love of retro gaming. I had, prior to this, been reading a whole bunch of Nintendo-powered magazines from my local library. It's a thing which ultimately led to me doing what I do now with Nintendo-powered retrospectives, and so I was already somewhat familiar with the NES library, and this motivated me to go out and hunt down more games for the system and that sort of thing. There was a brief stretch where I, in a fit of stupidity, traded in my NES and much of my game collection, but I'm working to build that back up, and I now have a better appreciation for the NES as a console, for retro gaming, and this all started with that Christmas gift. So Christmas and gaming, and retro gaming in particular, are very closely connected to me, or with me. So there's my little holiday memory. If you have any other Christmas retro gaming memories that you'd like to share, please feel free to post in the comments. I'd be interested in reading what you have to say. Thank you very much.
Hey guys, I'm the Philosopher with ConsoleXplosion.com, and I had to talk about my favorite video game, which is Metal Gear Solid 1 Tactical Espionage. Now, I've gotten a lot of crap over the years for choosing this game over some of the other far superior Metal Gear Solids in the series, and people have always given me, why don't you like Metal Gear Solid 3? The first one's really your favorite game, and yada yada yada. But I've always said that my favorite game, not the best made game, but my favorite game has always been Metal Gear Solid 1, and for a good number of reasons. The biggest one has to be the emotional connection that I had with that game. I love all of the other Metal Gear Solid games throughout the series, but the first one just had this feeling, this emotional connection that I made with it instantly and loved it and had to play it over and over and over again. Now, as I've gotten older and life happens, I didn't play the other ones as much. I thoroughly enjoyed them, but the first one was the one that really got me into the series. everything about the game for me was just so great. The first thing that you noticed was the voice acting was so fantastic. It was so well done, and it really carried the game. David Hayter did a great job as Solid Snake, and the gameplay was just awesome and challenging and very fun to me. I loved every bit of it. I loved the cutscenes. I loved the gameplay. I loved the dialogue, all the cool weapons, and all the awesome boss fights. Everything about the game was so well done. All the bosses, after you defeated them, you didn't feel like they were bad guys. It made you really question everything you knew. Every person that you fought had their own story, had their own motivations, had their own reasons, and it really connected with me. It made me think about maybe the bad person isn't always the bad person. Maybe they're just misunderstood. Maybe sometimes things aren't always as they seem. And that general theme carried on throughout every single Metal Gear. I didn't play the original 2 Metal Gears when I was young. I played them afterwards, so they didn't have the impact as the first one did. Metal Gear Solid was the very first Metal Gear that I ever played. So that one really had a big connection with me. I loved it thoroughly. I had a lot of fun with it. I could go on and on about Metal Gear Solid, but I just wanted to go ahead and share that small story. I loved it so much. I'm going to go ahead and share a really quick story with you guys. I was really young and just getting into Metal Gear, and I played hooky from the school. I pretended to be sick so that I could go home and play this game. And I got all the way to almost the end of the first disc. I played all the way through, and someone came home, so I just went ahead and shut off the PlayStation. Now, I had never even saved the game, so all that progress I had made, I lost. So when I found out about that, I just bawled like a baby. It was terrible. I felt bad. And my brother, actually, it was his game, and he wound up just copying his save because he got to where I got to where he was in one day. It took him a few days to get there. And so he went ahead and copied it, and I started from there and continued on. And after all the crying and everything I went to and the trouble he went to go ahead and copy his save over, I had to go and beat the game, and I wound up going on to beat the game many times over and totally loved the game. So that's my small story, but again, I love Metal Gear 1. I love all of them, but 1 was the one. Metal Gear Solid was the game that really opened my eyes in a lot of different ways. So if you guys have not played Metal Gear 1, I definitely recommend you guys either go out, check that one out, or even play Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, which was a remake for the GameCube. If you can find that one, good luck. But as always, I'm the Philosopher. You can check out my links on youtube.com/Philosopher, but always also on the Console Xplosion. Have a good one.
When Christmas rolls around, I immediately start thinking of New York because that's where I spent a lot of Christmases with family. I have a lot of extended family in New York. And there's one time in particular that I really just look back on and laugh because my parents had the greatest of intentions with this idea. I have an older brother, and when you have siblings that you have common interests with, particularly with video games, you have to share. And yeah, I feel that me and him, shared fairly well. And I didn't expect to get 2 systems. Basically, this, Super Nintendo's finally out. We eventually get one. We got it for Christmas. But it wasn't for both of us. My brother got the Super Nintendo, and I got Mario Paint. A great game. Not saying Mario Paint's a bad game or anything. Just the idea was, my brother has the system, I have the game, and in order for us to play, we both have to agree and share. What my parents didn't think about was the fact that he has the system. So he could save up and get his own games, or on his birthday he can get games, and he doesn't have to share with me because they're his games on his system. If I wanted to play, I'd have to get my own system or whatnot, and just... I mean, it worked out in the end. I have the Super Nintendo now. But, yeah. Yeah, that didn't work out quite the way that they envisioned. I mean, we never had any big fights over it or anything, but just... I could play I could play Mario Paint if we agreed on it, but I couldn't play anything else. That was bad. But fun still.
When thinking back to Christmases and video games, I didn't actually get a lot of video games for Christmas until probably the 2000s. It was after my family moved. But what was really intriguing about that was a game I asked my folks for, because we moved to Idaho from California, and I asked them for Shenmue for my Dreamcast because I really didn't have. I had a number of games for it, but that one was one of those like culturally defining games that you really had to experience to be a part of that kind of overall culture that was happening with it, because it was at that point in time something that was pretty different. And so I just remember talking to my folks about the game, and I was looking for Shenmue 2. And so my folks actually took me a few places and we were looking for Shenmue 2, but at that point in time I didn't realize that it didn't come out on the Dreamcast in North America. It came out in England for whatever reason in Europe, but it just never came to the shores here. So that was always one of those odd things where I really wanted to play Shenmue 2. But I didn't really follow up on it too much, but my folks actually picked up Shenmue 2 for the Xbox for me. I actually didn't have an Xbox, so actually for that Christmas they got me an Xbox. So that was a pretty cool moment, opening up an Xbox and getting to experience that, but also knowing that Shenmue 2 was there, so I actually got to finish that story I had spent so long trying to beat and getting into. So that was one of those kind of really fun Christmas moments. But aside from that, I really can't think of too many other moments with like Christmas and gaming. Because I used to always get a number of PC games and stuff like that for Christmas, but none of those games are really, really memorable. But none as much as Shenmue 2 was. Because that was a pretty cool thing in the sense that even though the Dreamcast was dead at that point, it was being carried on the Xbox. So that was just one of those really cool things. And the fact that I didn't even really talk to my parents that much about it. And they went above and beyond to actually get me an Xbox and Shenmue 2. So it was just kind of cool when people actually connect with you and understand what you want, especially when you're younger. But, yeah. Merry Christmas.
Thank you for watching, and please make sure to check out part 2 of the Console Xplosion's Christmas Memories of 2016. And please make sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, VidMe, and all that jazz. Again, happy holidays from the Console Xplosion.